highest level song, but why another fiddler? And then, if you don't like that question, so what's the funniest thing that's happened during rehearsals?
But as Sheldon rightly points out, it is the 50th anniversary, so do it again. It's a show I've always personally wanted to do, partly because my father was born in Sheldon, Lithuania, so it's in its own way very universal and finds its way into Syria or Somalia or even Ukraine today in its civil war circumstances. And beyond that, it's just a damn great musical to me. So.
I wanted to ask her, is it possible to fall too much in love with a character? Does that in some way hurt the performance? I mean, hurt your characterization of that person? And also the fact that you're going to have to one day say goodbye to that person forever.
I'm always in the process of looking for who that person is. And so I never think about the end when I'm in the process. I don't think about, you know, falling in love with my characters. What you help us do as a part of a team is take the culture and the world up to another level of understanding of human beings and the human psychology that those of us in this room attempt to portray. Marlo and Kathleen, Wright, all of us that are part of this, Marlee. And so I just want to tell you how much I appreciate that and how much I really wanted to be here with you today. So thank you very much.
I think any actor here will tell you the idea of hearing the audience, hearing them sigh or laugh or gasp or open up their purses and cry, hear that noise, that sound. It's a communion. And my father was a nightclub performer, and he had great respect for the audience. And he used to always say to me, an audience will follow you down any yellow brick road as long as you don't lie to them.
And no matter how gifted the bald cap person was, the result always was that Vivian Barry looked not only like she had cancer, but that she was a burn victim. And then somebody told me that it would be good for my hair if I shaved it. Now, it seems to have been good for Judith. I spent the better part of 4 years bald, and it got progressively more difficult.
I am truly, profoundly honored to be on stage each night in New York City, on Broadway. Here, I'll tell you why the audience loves it. Not because I'm so pretty and they like to come and see me each night.
Happy laughing.
I'm touching on gender differences and touching on all these issues, and then you're laying on top of it the story that involves American Sign Language without changing a bit of dialogue. Not one line of dialogue has been changed. Only it's one take. It's like one take every night. I want to say, wait a minute, can we do take 2? Can we go back?
Were my way in to Broadway. It was the only thing I could hold on to. I didn't have YouTube. I didn't have any kind of media to click and see what Something Rotten is in New York City from Michigan, where I grew up. And so we had the cast albums of Fiddler on the Roof, of Annie, of all the classics, and my introduction to Broadway was sitting in my living room listening to the stereo and just kind of imagining this world. Recording something is different, obviously, than doing something live. In terms of capturing the essence of what we do every night, it is a little bit different, and so I think that dimension is experienced best when live, and that's not necessarily true for all recordings. Conversely, I think that there are moments in the show that are can be even more experienced in a more nuanced and profound way through a recording experience.
What kind of research did you do to tell yourself more about Bruce Beckman?
I've always sort of been fascinated by the way people actually lived and trying to bring as much of that as possible to the stage when I'm playing a character. And what little was available really came from the source material that we were working on. So the first place I went to look, of course, was the book, and I began reading it when we started rehearsals, and stopped myself about a third of the way in because I suddenly felt that I was getting Allison's perspective on her father, and as objective as she was trying to be, inevitably she was going to have her version of her father. And I kind of figured out early on that I needed to guess at what Bruce's version of himself would be. It became a much more intuitive process than anything else that I've worked on, really.
Well, by the way, he did tell me why Another Fiddler on the Roof. He said he needs the royalties, he's lost all his money investing in Broadway shows.
I should say, with Jerry, I didn't initially have to face the problem of telling him I didn't like anything, because we worked in a way that I've never worked with any other composer. When we knew what the project was, we would go into our individual studios. Jerry would work, and when he had anywhere from 8 to a dozen songs, he would record them. And then he would send me a tape. I never had to tell Jerry, I don't like the rest of them. All I had to tell him was, there are 3 things on here that I love, and I can't wait to do the lyrics. So that was easy.
When you encourage theater going as a habit, not a special event,
Right.
I am also always grateful to you when you champion the work of women writers and writers of color. The most important obligation that you have is to elevate and protect the art. And to that end, sometimes you have to hold our feet to the fire, and that is a good and necessary thing. And if you can, when you do it, please remember that you are holding our hearts in your hands.